In this compelling video, Dr. Jordan B. Peterson engages in a rigorous debate on several contentious topics that have shaped public discourse in recent years. These include the gender pay gap, the nature of masculinity, campus protests, and the broader implications of postmodernism and identity politics. The conversation begins with Peterson addressing the notion that men need to grow the hell up. He argues that the failure of many young men to mature and take on responsibilities has resulted in a generation of individuals who are bitter, resentful, and aimless. Peterson asserts that without the grounding provided by responsibility and purpose, these men become old infants, people who have not found the meaning necessary to sustain them through life's inevitable difficulties. Peterson highlights that the need for men to mature is not simply a matter of personal development, but is crucial for society as a whole. He suggests that the current cultural climate often neglects to provide young men with the encouragement they need to grow up and contribute meaningfully to their communities. This lack of guidance, he argues, leaves them adrift and hostile, unable to find their place in the world. Peterson's message has resonated deeply with a large male audience, particularly on platforms like YouTube, where his videos have garnered millions of views. He notes that this overwhelming response indicates a deep hunger among young men for a message that emphasizes the importance of personal development and responsibility. As the conversation progresses, the discussion shifts to the gender pay gap, a topic that has been at the forefront of debates on gender equality. Peterson challenges the common narrative that the pay gap is solely due to sexism, arguing instead that it is a multifaceted issue with many contributing factors. He explains that while there is indeed a difference in pay between men and women, this gap is influenced by various factors such as career choices, personality traits, and life decisions. For instance, Peterson points out that women, on average, tend to be more agreeable than men, a personality trait that can lead to lower pay because agreeable people are less likely to negotiate for higher wages. Peterson also discusses the concept of equality, drawing a distinction between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. He supports the idea that everyone should have equal opportunities, but is critical of the push for equality of outcome, which he believes is both unrealistic and undesirable. He argues that attempts to enforce equality of outcome often lead to tyranny and suppress individual freedom. This part of the discussion touches on the broader implications of identity politics, which Peterson critiques as a dangerous ideology that prioritizes group identity over individual merit. The conversation then moves to the topic of postmodernism, which Peterson describes as a philosophy that underpins much of the current political discourse. He explains that postmodernism, with its emphasis on power dynamics and its rejection of objective truth, has contributed to a cultural climate where free speech is increasingly under threat. Peterson argues that the insistence on political correctness and the enforcement of speech codes are manifestations of authoritarian tendencies within the radical left. He expresses concern that these developments are eroding the foundations of Western civilization, which he believes are built on the principles of free speech and individualism. Peterson's critique extends to the issue of compelled speech, particularly in the context of laws that require the use of specific gender pronouns. He argues that such laws are an infringement on free speech and that the state should not have the power to dictate how individuals speak. This stance has made Peterson a controversial figure, especially among advocates for transgender rights, but he maintains that the right to free speech is fundamental and must be defended, even if it offends some people. Throughout the video, Peterson emphasizes the importance of truth in discourse. He argues that genuine conversations, whether in therapy, academia, or everyday life, should be based on the honest exchange of ideas rather than the pursuit of ideological conformity. Peterson suggests that the willingness to risk being offensive is essential for meaningful dialogue, and that the suppression of uncomfortable truths only leads to further division and resentment. In summary, this video offers a deep dive into some of the most pressing issues facing society today, including gender equality, the nature of masculinity, and the threats posed by postmodernism and identity politics. Peterson's arguments challenge the prevailing narratives on these topics and encourage viewers to think critically about the complexities of the modern world. Whether you agree with his views or not, the conversation is sure to provoke thought and spark further debate on these crucial issues. As always, if you thought this video contained info that wasn't a complete waste of time, go ahead and click on that subscribe icon. You can like it too, even if you didn't. Otherwise, miss out on interesting and condensed conversations and topics that don't suck. Catch you on the next one.